Hello and welcome to the Z-Huts. Learn to build Android apps with MIT App Inventor 2, episode number 7. In today's tutorial, we are going to take a look at how to connect to Bluetooth devices in MIT App Inventor 2. Now, there's many applications where you'd want to connect to a Bluetooth device. Say you were building an app to transfer files or pictures, or what I usually use the Bluetooth for is I do a lot with microcontrollers, and I can control them, use Bluetooth to control them with my tablet or phone. And there's other things you could probably use this to connect to a Bluetooth camera or many other applications, but what we're going to do is just show you the basics of how to actually get it to connect to the Bluetooth, and then from there in a future episode we'll take a look at different uses of sending the data back and forth between the Bluetooth connection. Alright, well, to save a little time, I've already set up the designer here, and we'll just run through it and I'll show you what I put in. Now what I've done is I've set the screen to center and center. Now you don't have to do that. If you didn't want everything centered, you could just use an arrangement to get it centered. So, because what's going to happen is this disconnect button actually is not going to be displayed on the app until after it's connected. And then once it's connected, this connect button is going to disappear. Now I've seen a lot of other tutorials, they'll have a connect button up here and a disconnect here, and they're always showing. I don't like that. There's no use of having the connect button being displayed after you're connected, and there's no point in having the disconnect button being displayed if you're not connected. So alright, okay, let's get back to this here. So I've got it set centered horizontal and centered vertically. I've got the background image I put in, and that's this texture here you see in the background. You can use whatever texture image you want, or you can just do a color. I haven't added an icon to it yet because this app is just a tutorial. I'm not going to be publishing this. Alright, there's nothing really else to go over on the screen. Scrollable, that's up to you if you're going to want the app to be scrollable or not. So what we have first is the connect button, but this is actually a list picker. And you can find the list picker right here. You just click that and you drag it in and drop it right here. And I've already got it in, so I'll select it here. This is our list picker, and I've set an image that's an image I found on a royalty-free site, and it's just the Bluetooth symbol. And then I changed the text on it to say connect. And you could use any picture you wanted. You could even just have the label and have a background color and then have connect. You don't have to use an image. But I think this looks a lot nicer to use the image. Then, of course, we have the disconnect, and this is a button. And you just drag in a button from over here. And there's the button right at the top. You just drag one in. And I just set that as rounded. And I set a height of 30 and a width of 200. Your app, you might want different sizes. Just play around with it. The font size, actually, I forgot to change that. That was actually a little too big. It wasn't quite showing on the button, so I'm going to drop that to 12. And then I have it bold. You could set it to be italic if you wanted. And for the text, I just have disconnect, and then I have it set up centered, and I have the text color black. Now, you can change any of these the way you wanted it. And I have the button shape rounded, but there's others you could do. You could do the default, the rectangular oval. I just like the rounded button. I think they look nicer. Now, then of course, we're going to need to bring in the Bluetooth client function. And to find that, you go over here and you go click on connectivity, and you want to drag in the Bluetooth client. Do not drag in the Bluetooth server. You want the Bluetooth client. Now, before we go any further, just a note. You can actually connect to two different Bluetooth devices in MIT App Inventor 2 at the same time. You cannot connect to 3 at the same time. And you could have the app set up to be able to connect to more, 3, 4, 5, 10, 100 devices, but you can only be connected to 2 of them at a time. So if you were going to do 2 or more, for each one you'd have to drag in another Bluetooth client. And then optionally here, I went under media here and I brought in a text-to-speech, because when you connect, once the Bluetooth connection is established, the Android device is going to actually speak connected. And then when you click disconnect, it's going to say disconnected. Now earlier I was talking about how these buttons aren't always going to be visible. So I have this one set right now. You go down, you see I have it clicked. This is visible to start with. Click on the disconnect, and you see here I have that unchecked. You want that unchecked because you do not want this to become visible until we're connected. And we're going to get into the blocks editor in just a second here, and I'll show you how this works. It's actually pretty simple. Oh, and another thing, if you change screens, if you're using multiple screens in your app, every time you switch screens, the Bluetooth connection drops and you have to reconnect. And that's why I like to do it this way, where buttons appear and disappear. It's called virtual screens. That way you only have to have one screen, but you can have different components show up or disappear. They don't always have to be displayed. All right, well, let's go over to the blocks editor here and we'll take a look at how this works. Scroll up to the top here. All right, so what we do is, you see here I have a list picker before picking and a list picker after picking, and you find that here. You just click on your Bluetooth and oh, excuse me, we want list picker. Click on that. I'm sorry about that. You want the before and after. It's these top two. You want to drag one of each of those in, but I've already got them here. Then what you do is you go back under the list picker again, and you want to find the set list picker 1 elements 2 Bluetooth client address and names. Now if you were using more than one Bluetooth device, you would want to have a second one of these, a list picker 2, and then you'd have set list picker 2 to elements for Bluetooth client 2. So you just got to remember to add more. But for this tutorial, we're just going to show one. In most cases, you're only going to be connecting to one Bluetooth device at a time. When I'm doing microcontroller work, I do run into situations where I connect to 2 at the same time. So that's all we have to do for the before picking. Then we get down to the after picking. So once again, go under the list picker and find set list picker 1 selection 2. Then you go under right here your Bluetooth client again, and you go call Bluetooth client 1 connect address. Then go back under the list picker tab and find this one here that says list picker number 1 selection. Now, then it goes down here. Excuse me. We have an if statement, an if and then. So if the Bluetooth is connected, we're calling up that text-to-speech, and we're making the app say connected. You could change whatever you want the app to say, just change what's in this text box right here, and the app will speak that. So then what we're doing, being it is connected, we're making that list picker, which is our connect button, visibility to false. And you find this little tab here right under the list picker once again. Then the button, which is the disconnect button, we're setting that to true. And I have a spacer in there because I was using this for something else earlier. This you don't necessarily need. But any other functions for your app, once you connect, you want to set every one of them to true. And that's how we do the virtual screen here. Now let's go down. Now for the button 1 click, which is the disconnect button, we're pretty much just doing the opposite of what we did up here. First we're calling the Bluetooth client to disconnect, then we're calling the text-to-speech, and we're having it say disconnected. Once again, you could change this to have it say whatever you want. You could have it say goodbye, get lost, have a nice day, whatever you want. And then of course we're setting the list picker, which is the connect button, back to true, and then you set everything else in your app to false. Now, as you can see, this isn't too difficult. You don't have to use the text-to-speech. That is completely optional. You could set the app up to where you don't need to use the virtual screens. You just have, let me go back over to the designer, just have a connect button on this side, a disconnect over here. Then all you simply do is just don't put these list picker visibilities in. Everything else would still be the same. 100% the same. All right. I don't think I need to take a picture of the blocks and put that up on the website. I'll just leave the screen up here for a moment so you can look at it. What you could do is, as you're putting this together yourself, you could just switch back and forth and have this paused so you can see what's on the screen here. And I'll leave it just for another moment, and then I'll scroll down here. So that should help you out. Actually, I could make it a little easier. Just do this. There you go. If you paused right here, then you can switch back and forth and take a look at the blocks to be able to put this together yourself. All right, well, I hope you found this information useful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. I've been doing an MIT App Inventor tutorial pretty much every day now, learning to build apps tutorials. I'm still occasionally doing my Arduino tutorials, and I actually got one put together. I'll be filming like later today or tomorrow. So make sure to subscribe if you want to keep seeing these. And with that, I can't really think of anything else to go over. So I guess we'll just say thanks for joining us here at the Z-Hut today. I hope you have a great day, and remember, have fun building your apps.